Parents with twins, are you 100% sure that both kids have the same name that they started off with? Do you think there was a day when you mixed up their names and it just stuck? My brother and I might be mixed up. X200B. Grandma gave us a bath when we were little and washed off the nail polish they used to identify us. X200B. When my parents picked us up, the only way she remembered who was by what outfits we had been wearing and what she put each one in. X200B. I don't believe she got it right based on that and just guessed. No idea how to go about discovering if we truly got switched or not though. My nan was convinced for years she took the wrong child home as my dad and his twin look nothing alike. For example, my dad is 5'5" and his twin was over 6 feet. My dad still has a full head of hair aged 65 and my uncle lost his hair at 20. My dad looks like his sister and his mom also. It was only when my uncle died suddenly from an unknown heart condition that we were all tested to see if we also had it. The results showed that they were in fact twins. As a twin, I've been asked this countless times. I'm lucky, because I've got a birthmark, but spare parts does not. Can confirm the following. One is heavier at birth. Different birthmarks. Freckles. In our instance, my wife had to have an emergency C-section. So the hospital labeled them Baby A and Baby B. And we chose the order of names based off of who came out first and second. So yes, 100. Mostly because we had help. Identical twin here. My parents have never told me how they kept track of who was who. Currently, I wouldn't trust them with that responsibility. This is unnerving. I'm an only child and my mom still gets me mixed up with her dogs. I babysat triplets. The dad admitted to me they probably mixed them up when they brought them home from the hospital. One was smaller and had a birthmark on her neck, but the other two were identical. As an identical twin, this makes me really uncomfortable. It really wasn't that hard for my wife and I after our twins were born. Although, once I thought I had mixed them up after a bath. But fortunately I remembered that my daughter Kevin had slightly darker hair than my son Emily. Lucky for that. I just adopted newborn twin girls 2 weeks ago. They're identical. At first, we had to mark one with a little Sharpie dot on their wrist, just to be sure. But, as they're starting to come into their baby faces, more fresh newborns still look a little fetus-y. It's quite easy to tell who's who. Will be extremely easy once their personalities come out too. Pretty sure, only one of them has a penis. Not me but a family friend who had twins. One of the boys came out smaller than his brother, but despite that they still wore their name tags from the hospital for a long while before they just changed them into different clothes. X200B. As for now, the one who was born smaller is still slightly smaller than his brother. There are usually defining features to twins that you learn to pick up as a parent as you have to watch them all the time. I used to work with this girl that had maybe 6 years younger twin brothers. Her parents put the bracelets with their names, and she switched them a few times. She isn't even sure anymore if she mixed them up or not. I'm not sure she told her family any of this. My mom discovered a mole on the back of one of them in the hospital. That saved us many times. I remember in kindergarten the twins were doing a writing prompt, I am special because. And twin B wrote, I have a mole on my back. Ancient American proverb states if a pair of identical twins get mixed up at the hospital and no one knows about it, did it actually matter? My identical twins were different weights and one had a birthmark, so they weren't hard to tell apart. But even without that they always seemed quite different to me. Before birth one always had a fast erratic heartbeat and lots of movement and the other was quieter, with a slower, steady heart. And their personalities still reflect that now they're adults. They didn't breastfeed the same. They smelled different to each other. Not a parent with twins, but I am an identical twin. To this day my mom says I could be my sister and vice versa lol, because babies look identical lol. Yay, because we had one tattooed at the hospital. But seeing as we named them both Daryl, it don't suppose it matters. My penis is way bigger than my twin sister's. I have an identical twin in my class this year. My student has her ear pierced with gold jewelry while her twin has silver. In this country, it's common to pierce female babies' ears at birth, so I assume this is what the family did. Yes. One had one side of her head flattened by her sister sitting on it in the womb. It did eventually pop out and look normal. So my sister has twins, so I asked her this question. This is her response. I might have switched them, but I am 100% sure we figured it out when we changed the diapers. Lol. Context: the twins are different genders. My mom told us she's pretty sure she's mixed us up a few times when we were younger. She gave me my footprint document from the hospital a couple years ago, but I haven't checked to see if I'm really me. I'm not ready for that existential crisis right now. I am a twin and am 100% sure my name isn't what I started out with. X200B. Player 1 has changed team. We did toenail polish until we discovered a birthmark on one twin's eyelid. We were so relieved now we can see other subtle differences. But when they were little squished balonies and we were super sleep deprived, I was so worried we would mix them up. With the toenail polish I'm confident it didn't happen. Also, one twin has always been slightly bigger since they were in the womb. Once heard about a set of twins where one needed a drug the other didn't. Giving the wrong baby the drug might kill both. Mom put a tiny freckle tattoo on one hand of the baby who needed the drug. Seems like a viable answer. Haha, it's very possible. Mine are adopted identical twins. But this is part of the reason we don't tell them who is older. Firstly, because we don't actually know. And secondly, because either we have unknowingly switched them or they have switched themselves to mess with us when they first came to us. Absolutely 100. Dad of fraternal twins boys. When they were born, one had a small cyst-like thing over his eyebrow. He also grew hair first. I was born bald and my twin was born with a full head of hair lol. I'm friends with a pair of twins who actually know for a fact that their names got switched in the hospital. The older one was supposed to be named after their father. But that is no longer the case. I'm not entirely sure of the details of how they know, though. Our twin girls aren't identical by any means, but my husband took a vid naming them while I was getting stitched back up from a C-section. Most definitely still have the same names that went with the baby. Asked my parents and they said they always knew, because my sister was a chubby baby. Tears of joy. As a twin I hope so, given we're fraternal of different genders. But our mom does continue to call us the other's name when she gets mad. She's had 3 decades to figure it out now. I took a Sharpie into the delivery room. Not joking. My friends with twins were advised to put different colored nail polish on the big toenails of their twin boys. They did, and one of the grandpas had a fit about girlifying them. Okay, boomer. So no, I don't think the twins got switched up, but they wanted to switch out grandpa. It's very hard to confuse me and my twin. Mainly because her mustache is better than mine, but my penis is bigger. If I was one of the siblings of twins, I'd mention this at breakfast. Sure would be easy for someone to deliberately swap them. Say, has anyone seen my brand new PlayStation? Oh, that's right, I don't have one. Sure hope I can find some way to keep myself amused.